This is the first time the Anand Ashram hosting this event. So I must thank the Superior for Joseph and Brother Arakaraj, the Administrator, for allowing us to make this all available for us today and tomorrow. We have two talks, one today and one tomorrow. This talk is not merely to celebrate an event like the birthday of Madras, but invite the Chennai Vasis to know the rich heritage of this city, its various components, its rich monuments that remind us of the past history, the various personalities who contributed to its growth, thus to appreciate what we have inherited and to realize our responsibility to preserve and promote the values that the city culture stands for. Architecture is a mirror of man's cultural progress, you know that. For example, Victor Hugo said, architecture is a book of human history, the handwriting of humanity. Thus, monuments of religious architecture are most useful in tracing the origins, growth, and decline of the various cultures in history. My topic is the church architectural styles in Chennai. There are more competent people to talk about temple and mosque. I don't enter into that. Madras is known for the variety of church architecture. In the whole of India, I am told by famous historian John Butler that there is no other city in India which can display such a wealth of historically significant buildings that are still in regular use for Christian worship, and that we all know that. Secondly, the church architectural structures reveal the different players in their constructions, the historical process of growth of the city, and how the church structures contribute to the aesthetic and spiritual value of the city, Chennai. If we calculate the birthday of the city of Madras as they do now, from the birthday of this, 379 years from Fort St. George, well, you could count, but in my Christian documents, it goes back to 3rd century AD. We have documents about Mylapore or Meliapur, different names given, it goes back to that, you see. So my talk tomorrow will touch upon that kind of things. First of all, let us see how a few church architectural styles before we speak about the churches in Chennai city, because the European missionaries brought with them their architectural styles. They have come and gone, but they have left their architectural styles that adorn the city of Chennai and that become our cultural heritage. That's why we are interested in this. For example, the Dutch were at the Pulicat, they were there. The Armenians were here, the French were in Pondicherry, the Danish people were in, Tarakabadi. They were all in Chennai. So it's all very interesting to see how this goes along there. All of them they are trade routes. Unfortunately, turned to be war routes also in some time or other. But we are not interested in that now. We are trying to see what they have left behind. So my sources are three. There is a book already by Kalpana and Frank Schiffer, Madras, The Architectural Heritage, published 2003. John Butler, Christian Art in India, 1996. And Father Hoston, a Jesuit, Antiquities from Sangom and Mylapore, 1936. He has documented, he translated all the inscriptions found in Mylapore area, about 284 of them. I have gone through these things, so my talk tomorrow will also based on that. Now, see, we'll come back to the topic. Architecture may be just defined as the art of building. Okay. Consequently, religious architectures refers to those buildings planned to serve religious purposes. These structures can be quite simple or very complex. But the practice of religion does not require this extravagant architectural styles. Prayers can be offered to gods, open air, on hilltop. For example, the followers of Islam can offer their prayers in the railway coach or in the streets. The Christian Eucharist can be celebrated in the hospital ward. But still, all the major religions have spent a lot of money and time to put these complicated, complex structures. And we like to see why they have done it. So at the end of the talk, we have to ask some reflections I will make. What is the meaning of this space? Architecture is creating space, and what do they want to evoke? Why do they waste so much money in these things? These are all questions. Whether the space, architectural styles have any influence in our spirituality, in our way of thinking. That will be the concluding remarks. I'll come back to this. So now first, some information about the architectural styles. You know, in the West, there are different architectural styles because Westerners brought this here, that's why I have to mention a few things. But you must remember, these styles are not exactly replaced here, you see. You know, they are all mixed. And for example, the first Byzantine style, Eastern Christian Byzantium, the famous, you know, the construction of Octavius, you know, Constantine, built a parallel city, it's now the so-called Istanbul now, parallel to Rome, and Byzantium comes from there. Now very often in the Saracenic we call it, Saracen, if you look in the dictionary, refers to anybody living in the Arabian desert. Later on he referred to Muslims, you know, then now it's called architectural styles. For example, the dome model started in so-called now Turkey, in Istanbul, and very interestingly, so it has great influence in Russia, many other things. We still have some models here in our place, namely if you see the Senate building, university, or you know, airport stations, they have still this kind of model. We call it Indo-Saracenic. This is another one thing. But then you come to Romanesque style, the Western Christianity. Then you come to Gothic style, the French origin. See, we don't have in India exactly the Gothic cathedrals as in France. The only example quoted very often, Francis Xavier Church in Goa, it's a perfect example. But even there, the facade, the Manuelian style introduced the Portuguese, you see. But what happened, the facade will be Gothic, vaulting and all. Inside they will put various other things. It's not perfect, you see, model. But there are Gothic elements and Baroque elements in our churches here. So let me mention these, what they are about. Baroque style, Italian origin. Many of the Jesuit churches are Baroque style. They were the patrons of Baroque architecture. And then we have the Renaissance style, the Neo-Gothic style. You know, the 19th century, every country in Europe claimed that they are the pioneers in Gothic architecture, but adapted for their own convenience. British did their own way, the French did their own way, the Spanish did their own way, etc., etc. So this is not exactly a lecture on architecture, but at least to have some background to understand what the churches are about. Then we'll start with one example. See, Gothic style, what is famous about it? Because many of the churches are Gothic, Neo-Gothic. One thing is ribbed vault, you see. The branches of ribs, Gothic name, are often compared to the wooded aisle of the forest, you see. The Gothic windows transform daylight into hymns of color, while a modern window admits it as a raw material. Theirs is a mystic union, ours the material one. The piers and arches, the pinnacles that taper to the sky, the crockets on every straight line that break its continuity, all shows the expression of the Gothic yearning for union with God. See, just an idea, just briefly summing up a little bit. See, now an example, see, Milan. We often quoted this example of Gothic, almost like being needle.
When you switch off these lights,
What is not clear?
it will be clear.
Just at least one light you can get this light alone.
That is not very clear.
This the light in front you switch off. Give me some light for network. That we can switch off.
Oh, it is not like that. That's fine.
Okay, fine. Okay, that's okay. So this is just an example of Gothic Milan Cathedral. I've been there 3 times, but every time it's fascinating to look at this. You see, there's another example of Gothic will be this ribbed vault. You see, we find also in our cathedral here, Santo. We will see that example. Now we'll come back to our models here. I start with this cross. You know, many of you have seen it, where it comes from. Church is in St. Thomas Mount. See, the Nestorian tradition established themselves in the first millennium on the Malabar coast. Unfortunately, nothing remains of what they have done it. There is a lot of interpretations. My professor Hambi, Jesuit, Belgian Jesuit, who taught us, he told us there was an Armenian monastery there. But others say there was a Nestorian tradition. Whatever it is, from 5th century onwards, there was a church or monastery in that place. When the Portuguese, of course, rebuilt, destroyed it 3 times, same place they did that. This cross supposed to have been discovered when they dug the foundation to put a new church. They say it was lying underneath because they want to use the same foundation, and that's what they say. The word The script is the Sonian Phallic script, they say. Inscription in about 650 AD. This stone was found in 1547 by the Portuguese, and they have put it up, they say, you know. This is very, very interesting to see the cross. Then we have this church at Santo Thomas Mount. You know, the structure, outside structure will be similar with the Portuguese style. That's inside once again. See, the main altar cross stone with the Sasanian Phallic inscription, you know, the stone was found 1547, as I said. The Portuguese had erected a, you know, small mound about that. There is also a picture of St. Thomas Martyrdom. There is also an Augustine arms on the bulging part of the altar table. Above the picture there is a cross in a double circle. Round the smaller circle are some Armenian letters in which appears the name of the Petrus Uskan. Is probably the donor of the 14 Armenian paintings in the church. He seems to have been a very powerful or rich man who had contributed several things. So we'll come back to this. Once again, the inside Thomas Mount Church. Just have a glimpse of it. Okay. You come to this 1551 AD Little Mount Church. Already the Portuguese built a church inside of it. They suppose in 1970 the parts have been destroyed and the round church is built up now. I am not showing that now. The point is, there is an Armenian inscription of 4 lines. I read that from the Father Austin's translation, Austin. This is the grave of Kuja David, the son of Koja Marga. This is the oldest Armenian tombstone in Madras. It is at the foot of the steps leading to the church, but in shape and appearance it resembles a milestone. I am quoting from Father Austin. The date is 1663. This inside, look at this cave where Thomas is supposed to have been hiding. There is also a cross. It's supposed to be pre-Portuguese. It's a center cut in the rock near the spring on top of the little mount. In a letter of Father Tashard, Jesuit, 1781, we are told there was a small chapel called the Chapel of Resurrection in 1711. This was done by the order of the Jesuit visitor Father Nicholas Pimento, who visited Mylapore in 1598. But now the church disappeared. But at least the records show there was a church called Church of Resurrection. Now we come back to Lus Church. You know that is very famous. It's recently we celebrated its 500th year of this. You know, the oldest surviving church in the city, Lus Church, on Kennedy Street, is dedicated to Our Lady of Light. Built sometime between 1547 and 1582. There is some controversy. Some historians say no, it cannot be 15. Now the inscriptions are accurate. You know, cannot be. So if you go to the church at the left side, outside wall, this inscription 1516, it's written there. Some historians doubt. The reason given is the Portuguese visitors who came later, 15, 18, 20, 21, 22, they don't mention this church at all. See? And 1516, there was no church here, and the Muslim family is supposed to have looked after the Thomas tomb. Why is it no visitor mentions this? These are speculations, but I still hold on. The inscriptions normally accurate. So that's how they celebrated the 16th of this month, this fact. But it is now by the historians' disputation, we are not interested now. So the point is that why they arguing the Franciscans are not settled down to Madras before 1540. That was their argument. Because some controversy about this arose later. Because, never mind the historians' point of view. The structure is shaped as a cross. A large vaulted masonry roof covers the simple hall with an intersection over the transept. The architectural feature of the building is the final front facade, composed of symmetrically arranged frontispiece over the entry door at the end of the masonry vault. And the side altar, gospel side, left, is a statue of our Lord seated after the flagellation. Right, St. Dominic holds a book in his hand and rosary round his neck. Okay? On the walls on either side of the nave before the sanctuary are 8 Armenian paintings and cloth representing apostles. These documents I put from Fasting because 1922 he spent 2 years here and documented them all. I went over there and I could not recognize that. Every whitewashing things disappear, you see. Probably disappeared, but at least 1922 these things were there. 14 paintings, as you find also Thomas Mount, you find also here, according to Boston, he has seen it, and he says the information about the names of the apostles was given by Reverend Jacob of the Armenian Church in Ross. This is what he records in 1922, published 1936. Okay. Now we come to this. There's one note which I have. So it's inside. You see that inside this large church interior is like this. And yeah. Now we come to this. Could you recognize that where this church is? Rita's church. You see, I too had difficulty to find out where it is. So they want to destroy. Luckily, it's not destroyed. It still remains. They're using it occasionally for mass and all. But there is very interesting thing is about this church, Rita's church. This is a facade. The church was served in olden times by the Augustinians, as its name suggests. Saint Rita being an Augustinian saint. There is above the wall door facing the road a Portuguese inscription and an Armenian inscription showing that the vicar, Fray Gaspar de Royce, a native of Sandong, finished the church in 1740. Another inscription, Armenian, which is to be seen on the same side below the projection made by the cornice of the lower portion of the facade, which says, in memory of the Armenian nation, in the year of the Savior, 1729. The inscription must commemorate the beginning of the work on the church or convent. The Armenian who supplied the funds may have been the wealthy Petrus Uskan, who in 1726 built the Marble Bridge and portico, steps, walls leading up to the church in Thomas Mount. You see, the interior also you can see. This is another view I was trying to photograph, but my photographs are not clear enough. But some you have some idea. So this is the inscription. You need a lens. Zoom lens, otherwise you can't. The other one I took, it's not clear. This one I managed to get from the net. It is there. This inscription is in the net. So 1729, you see. So not manage, does not matter. So interior of the Rita's church, there is Augustine arms, you see, inside, and a double-headed eagle and the 3 altars. Above the main altar, a wooden statue of Our Lady and Child. Rita now on the gospel side, formerly it was in the center. So Theodore, it was called late addition made by Monsignor Teotonio Ribera Vieira da Castri after removing part of the wooden rails. So it's a very, very interesting example. You can have a look at it when you have a time there. Now this is, you are seeing Holy Rosary Church, on the Kacheri Road. If you cross this, you will see the trees hidden there. That is within this Rosary Church Matriculation School campus. It's again, you can see the facade is the same. I was trying to photograph from inside, it's very difficult, it's not so good, but anyway, you have an idea. From inside it's very straight. But inside, just above the altar, the dome style that supplies light. It's very, very, very interesting picture. It seems the sisters use it occasionally for evening prayer. The interior is dominated by the play of light that pours in through windows featured on the outer edge of the deep niche that go down to the floor. Yeah. The altar is interestingly lit from the roof. Okay. Father Austin says it's an old Dominican church, very interesting, near which the Dominicans must have had a small monastery. Near 1635 in old style letters on the facade gives the date of the building of the church. And the building portion of the altar table, one finds the arms of the Dominican order, you see. Above and below the 2 pillars on their side of the larger niche, the 4 evangelists. Next picture you see, this is at the side now, they removed it. And you see on top there are 4 evangelists. And around Our Lady's picture there are 15 mysteries of the Rosary as engraved there. So my photo is not clear enough, it's too big, you couldn't click the whole thing there. But it's quite intact, quite nice to look at it, it's inside there, you see. Yeah, there is interestingly, about this uppermost niche, there is also bearded oval across a peculiar shape, which appears to be special to the order of Saint Dominic. So, it's what is written, the letters mean that Nosa Signora de Rosario, Our Lady of the Rosary. At the foot, a date 1635, which is identical with the date and the facade of the church. You see what we are seeing there. Now we come to Santum Basilica. First, this is very, very interesting. Is actually the replacement of the church of the early 1600. The present cathedral is a third to be built on the site by the Portuguese, succeeding another by the Nestorian Christians of Persia. Constructed in 1896, it houses the remains of the apostle, you know. I have some more pictures of this, you know, from the other side, Santum from a different perspective. That's making it. Of course, tomb, there's a recent addition underneath, you know that. And then, of course, there's altar of the Santum Basilica. This is obviously Gothic element, arched vaulting. So you can recognize it. This is this much about the Portuguese style. I just want to refer to a famous Portuguese Renaissance polymath, John de Barros, who wrote a Portuguese grammar, remarks as follows. Maybe an imperialist is wishful thinking. I quote, Portuguese arms and memorial stones planted in Africa and Asia and in thousands of islands beyond the three parts of the world are material, and time might spoil them, but it will not spoil the doctrine, customs and language that the Portuguese have left in these parts. End of the quote. Do you agree with this statement? You know, but still in Madras we have Portuguese architecture still adorn the city. They are right in a way. Their ambition was that people speak their language and learn their culture, and it will remain. They were trying to Portuguesize Goa. There's an interesting book, Catholic, Roman, interesting book by two ladies, one from Paris, Ines Supanau, and Angelo Barreta, a Portuguese. Both of them brought out this book. So it's a very interesting book about that. Never mind. So they have still left some remnants of their presence. If we come back to the another aspect of it, see that there was a nice church, Dutch, but now they destroyed. Last year they built a new church. I didn't show that, you see. But this cemetery is again to show the Dutch presence in Madras. And it's 1609, Pulicat, just north of Madras. There are large old tombs there, built in heavy Netherlands style, richly carved tombstone. It is said the similar monuments were there in Nagapattinam, Masulipatnam and elsewhere. The Dutch Baldeus was the first Protestant clergyman to evangelize India, also in North Ceylon and the Madurai coast. Unfortunately, the old church was demolished and the new one was built in 2015. But you see, there is another remnant of this. This is very only for us to recall the heritage value of the Dutch presence in our show. Now we come back to the Armenian church. 17th, this is not exactly the church, it's only the bell tower, you see. So, in this 18th century, Armenians built a fine church for their community in Blacktown. This was renamed Georgetown to commemorate the Madras visit of the Prince of Wales, later George V. The old church, built in 1712, has been renovated in 2008 and keeps a distinctive architectural style, though hidden from the main street. Around the church in Armenian Street, there were more than 120 inscriptions, most of them entirely Armenian. J.J. Cotton's list of inscriptions has translation only of 8 of them, one of them being in Latin. Armenian inscriptions offer a fascinating sight. It seems that the art of carving inscriptions is hereditary with Armenians in their priestly families. The church has 2 dates inscribed on the facade. One of them records its erection in 1712. The other is a rebuilding in 1772. In the left veranda, this is inside, I'll come back to this. The left veranda, I've been there once. There is a painting representing Sultan Shamir, very interesting. He died in 13th June 1797. But there is an interesting book, History of the Armenians in India. The author posted refers to page 447. It's more details about him, but it's not the occasion to go into that. So the bells, 6 of them are all inscribed. Unfortunately, it was not possible to get near them. In the church on the altar side, you find there was also a picture of painted in gold, Mother of Sorrows, surrounded by angels and bearing Latin inscriptions. I copied that inscription. He says, "O men who pass through this way, stop and look at me. If there is any sorrow like that of mine." That's a quote. In the church was kept a beautifully illuminated manuscript of New Testament Armenian of 1702. Many of the books, I was told, and journals were published in Madras at that time for various reasons. Yeah. There is also cruciform prayer hall, roofed by walls supported on pointed arches. The only 2-story portion is set up rooms in the entrance. You know, this very, very important monument for us about the Armenian presence. I was told there is another one church in Calcutta. There are only 2 churches of the Armenian style even now existing. That is again the Armenian corridor. Yes. Now we come to Loyola College Church. You know, this is campus houses a 53.5 meter tall spired Church of Christ the King, built in 1933. Church is an embellished 46 meter by 18 meter Gothic rectangle with flying buttresses, pinnacles, and other paraphernalia associated with the Gothic style. Designed by Jnanapragasa Pillai, the church is simple in plan with the central nave and aisles. With all sorts of new buildings, I quote the author about Madras says, new buildings have now ruined the harmony of what earlier must have been a wonderful campus. It's a response by the historian, not mine. Okay. So this is inside this Loyola College Church. You have an idea about how the Gothic elements you can find. It's not exactly Gothic, but we have a replica of it in some way. Yeah. Now we come back to the British neo-Gothic styles. You see, this is St. Mary's Church. In 1680, the East India Company erected the Protestant church. It was for the use of the garrison European merchants of the colony. It was intended to provide an arena in which the governor could display himself along with his family, friends, and colleagues before the congregation. Most important, the church proved to be a safe haven from the cannonballs of the French men of war at sea. The brick walls are almost 2 meters thick, an immensely strong barrel vaulting over the nave, and aisles 0.6 meter thick at its shallowest point, and constructed of the same material. The shelter was built by Dixon, who understood what was required to withstand the bombardment. In this, now we inside view of this. There are several tombstones. A lot of historical documents which I have not done in this. And you see this also Gothic wall. We find that this altar. There's also Last Supper on top of it. So this again is in various church. One of the well maintained is last time Mr. Vincent D'Souza took me around. Okay, not so easy to have access to it, so I had an opportunity. And it's nothing like being inside at least once, then you know what it means, not only the facade outside. See? Now this is suppose Matthias Church. The Armenian merchant Koja Petrus Uskan built 1713 to 1714 Vapori, a church of his own for his own use, which passed after his death to the East India Company. In 1740, when the German missionary Fabricius was sent to India to work for the British in Madras, this former Armenian church was handed over to him. He was talented in language like Atala and Ziegenball, and he continued his missionary work. The British provided him with a printing press. His tombstone is to be seen in this church, 1711 to 1791. This church was rebuilt in Neo-Gothic style in 1814 with the help of the Anglican Church. It is the second oldest Anglican church in Chennai. This is now part of the Church of South India. I didn't go inside, I didn't have the opportunity to go inside. So now we come back to this George Cathedral. It was supposed to be completed in 1816, designed by Colonel James Caldwell, built by Major Thomas de Havilland, a military engineer of the company, who also constructed St. Andrew's Church 2 years later. Resembling St. Giles in the Field in London, this religious edifice houses the memorials of a number of famous individuals, including Thomas Berry, John Pinney, James Anderson, the sericulturist, Bishop Caldwell, the renowned Tamil scholar. The steeple height also, you can see that is inside. I have been there. It's very interesting. It's well maintained. I have been there once for a service. Yeah. Now we come to St. Andrew's Church. This is again an important monument in Madras. It is at the, somebody said the noblest edifice in Hindustan. In Punamali High Road or EVR Road, you know that. The number of Scottish people increased, especially the Scottish soldiers in the Madras army and the Scottish teachers in the city schools, so it became unavoidable to build a separate church to accommodate the Presbyterian tradition. The foundation was in 1818, planned and executed by Major Thomas de Havilland under the supervision of Dr. John Allen. There are 16 columns of stone, which half of them in granite. The steeple rises 166 feet above the floor of the kirk in 4 segments. The British, who gave new direction to colonialism in India, built churches in important cities, centers like Madras, Calcutta, Bombay, later also New Delhi, which were often the exact replicas of churches to be found in Britain. A favorite model was St. Martin in the Fields, which stands at the head of the Trafford Square in London, and whose replica is found both in the St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church in Egmore and Andrew's Church in Calcutta near the writer's house. It is interesting to note the appeal of a kind of classicism with Greek pillars, architraves, and sometimes with the domes. This classicism tended to underline the Greek and later Roman model for a city planning in the church, planning the church as symbol of the type of Western civilization. But how successful it was in a colonial country is a mystery. But there were others like E.B. Howell who argued in favor of using the skills of traditional craftspeople in India, especially in the construction of prominent public building of the British Raj. You see, that tendency gave rise to so-called Indo-Saracenic style, etc., etc. You will see that. This one inside this Andrew's Church, windows. These are supposed to be Corinthian pillars, 15 Corinthian columns there, you see that. Very imposing structures. Yeah, now this is a chapel. Why I say this? See, in Madras, 1921, a Quaker artist by the name of Reginald Dunn was appointed director of town planning. He was invited to design the new chapel for the Women's Christian College in Madras, which has been founded in 1915. This chapel is completed in 1923, and Dunn wrote of it, I quote, "We have attempted with freedom and imagination, without slavish imitation of any particular building or style, to be obedient to the lessons of perfection in proportion and style handed down from the past, so far as they are applicable to present needs." End of the quote. I quote from 25 Indian churches by Hargreaves. He refers to this church. I have not been inside, I have only this photograph. Now we come to this Anderson Church, opposite High Court, you have to see. So just to run through a few more models, you will see that. Then you have this Wesley Church. Luckily, Mr. Vincent took me around on Sunday. We went through along this Broadway. There are 6 churches or 7 churches, I don't remember. It was Sunday, so we could also go inside to see when people worship. Very, very fascinating, the old part of the city. This is Wesley Church again. So you can see the building. This is English Wesley Church on Broadway again. Then you have Christ Church, 1852 Mount Road. Zion Church, late 19th century. Science Church, they call it. Franz River Church, 18th century, again in Broadway. I took the photo from the side to have an idea. It was, I think it was built in 1843 or something. Later, now they run by the Salesians. It's no more, this diocese hand over the Salesians. They are running this church. Now we have this Methodist Church, earliest 20th century. Then Douglas Church, again Broadway. Then series of churches there. It's very interesting if you go inside. There was service going on when I visited last time. And the St. Paul's Church.